186 million people in the Arab region are food insecure. Maybe the biggest and strongest modality FAO has today is South-South cooperation.
What's the role of China?
Learning from China's experience. Gaza before October 2023 was self-sufficient. In the Arab region, the latest report from FAO with other United Nations organizations was released in December 2024, shows that 186 million people in the Arab region are food insecure, either moderate or severe food insecurity. Out of those, 66 are severely affected by hunger. Most of them, the majority, are in the conflict areas. But there are, because of inequality, others are in non-conflict affected countries, and they're still classified as hunger people because either food accessibility is a problem, or if food is available and accessible, affordability is a problem with the inflation and increase of prices of major foods. FAO try to find the best modalities to advise countries and governments to improve their policies and strategies to face these challenges. And maybe the biggest and strongest modality FAO has today is South-South cooperation, where they try to bring in solutions from the countries of the South that have faced challenges. FAO has one of the biggest programs with China that exceeds 130 million US dollars on promoting South-South cooperation, where success stories and lessons learned in the Agriculture Center involving CAS, the Chinese Academy of Agriculture Science.
So what's the role of China in terms of solving this global issue?
China is a vast, massive land that have different topographies. And a lot of these topographies in different states, so between South China to North China to East China, West China, resembles almost every piece of the challenging world. If we talk about desert, there's a full states of desert states very similar to the Middle East that they share the challenges with. So with the great development experience and the success stories in China, there's a massive room for transferring this knowledge, especially with China's initiative on GDI, for example, the Global Development Initiative by China on South-South cooperation through the Chinese International Development Agency. But beyond that, we have massive programs on building resilient agriculture, climate smart agriculture. A lot of our areas are affected either by salinity or by seawater intrusion and by drought and dry lands. And there's a lot of success that has been established and well documented in China, which is now in the process of transferring it to our countries to learn lessons from these models. We go down to the details of producing silk, learning from China's experience. We started with Egypt in one of the governorates, a small pilot project of silk production for women. It targets women empowerment in rural areas and rural transformation in communicating with the specialized institute in China on silk production. So these are areas where we benefit from the generous support, especially on knowledge and technical assistance from China, various institutions in supporting our countries. What we do is that we do the matchmaking as FAO. We identify the need in the country, then we communicate with the Chinese counterpart, identify the institution that provides that knowledge, and then we link up those together in a facilitated manner so that it triggers the cooperation.
Right. So you talk about the Chinese way. So from your viewpoint, what's the difference of Chinese way and the Western way of alleviating the hunger issue in the region?
Interesting question. The Chinese way is exactly matching the way needed by our countries. Why? One, it's simple. Two, it's humble. Three, it's very much oriented and tailored for the smallholder farmers. We still have 80% of our food produced by smallholder farmers. They are the most fragile communities. They don't have knowledge. They don't have resources. But also we have countries where almost 60% of the population lives in the rural areas. So the solutions that we bring in from countries like China with their generous support on disseminating this knowledge is exactly tailored and matching these smallholder farmers, which is very critical and important. Now, there are many solutions, again, in other parts of the world, but they're designed and tailored for large-scale private investors. They're not necessarily fit to the purpose that we want for small developing countries or least developed countries where they need to support the family farming, the smallholder farmers and all this. So this is where the matchmaking is happening with what we get from China. And the very important is that the solutions are so simplified that they're accessible for these smallholder farmers who don't have the means and the tools to operate sophisticated, complicated instruments and machineries, or to maintain it, or even to afford the cost of it. But we're looking at this small farmer holder oriented solutions that are very well matched with the situation in China.
Have you been to Gaza area or Palestine recently? What do you see?
You ask me what I see. I see a disaster. I see a devastation. I always say that within our region of the Near East, North Africa, we have two crises that stand out in the whole crisis of the world. Gaza is the most intense crisis in the world, and Sudan is the biggest in terms of size, because we're talking of 50 million people affected there. Now, what is interesting about Gaza, that Gaza before October 2023 was self-sufficient of food. It was exporting egg, fish, vegetables, fruits, olive oil. It was exporting to West Bank, to Israel, to many other parts of the world, including some of the Gulf countries, especially olive oil and some of the precious specialized commodities that come from Gaza. Gaza had enough fish farms, one of the largest per capita in the world in terms of chicken production and egg production. Surprisingly, yes, this is all gone. So what we do as FAO, we have focused on introducing necessary inputs for the livestock sector, and that includes fish feed, animal feed, huge amounts of animal feed, vaccinations for the animals, and also some agricultural inputs including seeds and fertilizers and others. We look forward to, of course, continue these efforts and allow the people in Gaza to build their resilience to produce their own food.